What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What you gonna do when they show up in...
Hello, this is Matt Bergman, and you're listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast, episode 6. I'm here with Jared Schneiderman and Alexis Schlegel. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good, man.
All right.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. So, Baby Cap. So, you went to OC this weekend?
I did, man. I was down there for cruising week, which is basically just, a whole bunch of muscle cars and souped up cars, but typically like American stuff. And one thing I noticed down there was a whole lot of piggies rolling around. A lot of piggies out there. Now, I mean, this is basically a car show, and they're giving people tickets for doing things like spinning wheels, which is super dangerous.
Yeah.
Super duper dangerous, or just doing, what I'm trying to say is they're just handing out tickets, basically just using it as a good weekend to make revenue, even though they invited all these cars down there. And, I don't know. I just think it's pretty fucked up. That's really all I got to say about that.
Or the stuff that dreams are made of.
Could be that.
Status dreams.
Status dreams. What's status?
Status nightmares in Ocean City.
What's up?
Status nightmares in Ocean City.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Don't they also have laws down there, like you can't curse on the boardwalk? You
Really?
get fined, or am I thinking Virginia Beach?
You could be thinking Virginia Beach.
Yeah, that could be another.
Sorry, I'm still a little wiped out.
Actually, I had a buddy that was down there, and he was like, he got drunk like everybody. And
Wait,
he
you got
like,
drunk at the beach?
Yeah, exactly.
Who does that?
And then, but no, he got cited for like public urination.
Oh, dude, I did that like several times this weekend.
Yeah, but he got cited, and then so the cop writes him out a ticket,
Did he
and then he takes the ticket. He
pisses on it?
I think he like rips it up, and he says, "What's the fine for littering?"
That's awesome.
So yeah, and I'm amazed it stopped right there.
That was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Apparently, if I remember the story correctly, this is a long time ago.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to drink on the beach either, but we did that. So
Do you have to pay to go on the beach down there?
Wow, dude.
Pay to go on the beach?
Yeah. They do that in Jersey. That's another status.
Really?
Wonderland.
The
They're down at
Jersey
beach.
Shore?
Yeah, you got to pay to go on the beach.
Huh.
Not all of them, but I think most of them you do.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So what else? What did you guys get into this weekend?
My nephew came over. We just like hung out, bird-chilled it,
Nice.
watched some movies, played a little bit COD.
A little what?
A little COD.
COD?
Yeah, Advanced Warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
I don't know. Probably not to most people. It wouldn't meet their definition of cool, but I find it fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. So, did you guys hear about this whole Baltimore water shutoff thing?
But anyways, like this isn't cool libertarians. This is punk rock libertarians.
Right.
So, anyways,
It's
I'm
also
not
not
sure.
lame
I'm not sure
libertarians.
COD is punk rock though. But anyways, so
Thanks for that.
yeah, okay, yeah. So, what were you saying about the water?
Yes, so Baltimore City Water is shutting off water to more than 1,600 customers in the past 6 weeks due to delinquent water bills. Which in and of itself doesn't sound that controversial, but when you look at who they're shutting off water to, it gets a little shadier. So the majority of the homes that have unpaid bills are in the city, but 90% of the shutoffs have been in Baltimore County. On top of that, they've been shutting off water to mostly like families and regular homes, and not shutting it off to corporations who actually have the largest portion of that water bill debt. So, I mean, it sounds to me like a little bit of corporatism going on. Uh-oh.
Wow.
Which, I mean, yeah, if you're not paying your bills, I mean, you shouldn't get something for free. But, I mean, if you're a corporation not paying your bills, you should be treated just the same as a home that's not paying their bills.
Yeah, totally. Definitely sounds a little fishy.
Yeah. And, I mean, they claim, we just haven't got to them yet. But
Yeah.
it's like, why wouldn't you just go...
Why wouldn't you go to
Go
like
to
the
them
largest bill owers first?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Which is the corporation, because they're just using tons of water.
Totally, dude.
Yeah,
Most likely they're getting tax subsidies anyways just to do business in Baltimore, i.e. the Amazon distribution warehouse.
Oh, what's that about?
Because nobody wants to do business in Maryland because it's not a very business friendly state.
No.
So,
Yeah, I had a buddy who just worked there for like a week.
Like the Amazon place?
Yeah. He like left my job, and then he worked there for a week, and he finished his first week, and he like came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it that bad?
Yeah, apparently it was that bad. He just said it was just like super mindless, and he was just like filling orders and packing stuff up, and they'd tell you the exact box to put each specific thing in. He said that it was just so mindless that it was in a couple years they're just gonna have robots doing it anyways. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, it's
I
like
mean-
they got a tax break. I think 10 years, no property taxes in the city,
Wow.
or just to basically lure them to Baltimore.
At least
So-
we'll be getting our packages faster.
It's an economic. Now you got to pay taxes though. So
Oh, that's right, dude. I
you got to
noticed
pay the
that.
sales tax because they actually have a.
you got to pay the
actual-
extortion.
Yep, exactly.
Dude, I forgot. I noticed that on my last purchase. I was like, what is this?
Right. So they're
And it explains it.
so you have these companies that are tax exempt and yet not paying their water bills. Yet they're cutting off
Right.
families. Yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's and we're talking about, I saw like a post on my Facebook feed of someone saying, they were like, oh, here's the hand of the free market at work. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? This is a public utility.
Yeah,
There's nothing
exactly.
free about, there's
No.
nothing free market about a public utility, dude. You know?
And if you're cutting off, like, I mean, I'm in the county, but I get my water bill. It comes from the city, so my bill's from the city. But honestly, like 3 months, it might be $20, if that. So you're gonna cut off families for $20?
Right.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, you're not talking about like tens of thousands of dollars probably in
Yeah.
back paid bills. You're talking,
Chump change.
chump change, but
I mean, it's still the principle, like you said, but
right.
yeah, it's corporatism. It reeks of corporatism.
And I mean, if
Yeah.
it was like, a privatized system, they'd probably be going after the people that owed the most money first, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's
because they
that's
want
where
that
you
money.
get the biggest chunk of your change back from.
Right.
So
And you'd possibly work out. And I don't know if they do this or not, but I doubt it. But you might work out a payment plan with your customers that are slacking off.
yeah, dude.
Instead of just shutting off their water and like basically causing them to fucking dehydrate to death. I mean,
Yeah, totally.
Like that seems pretty fucked up. But
yeah.
yeah,
Where's the conscience?
where is the conscious man?
So Matt, you want to
So-
touch on the next topic?
You want to touch on D's?
These
nuts. Okay, so did you guys hear about Jeff Berwick running for the Libertarian Party in Canada? Apparently, he wants to run for Prime Minister.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, you hear arguments all the time on both sides of whether like engaging in the political process is a good idea when it comes to moving forward the cause of freedom. And I mean, usually you hear like sort of like the Ron Paul end of things, where if you at least get a platform to speak on, even if you don't even have a real chance, you can at least just spread your ideas.
Word. Spread that seed.
Spread that liberty seed.
Matt, give us a little background about him for the
Okay.
listeners out there.
Yeah, so Jeff Berwick, he does Anarchast, pretty cool little podcast, and the Dollar Vigilante website. And he's an anarchist. He's been living in Acapulco for the past 6 years, And just a very I believe too he was like pretty vocal about like not voting and not participating in the system, but it seems like kind of just like Chris Cantwell recently has said that he's going to be participating now, and then so now Jeff Berwick's thinking about participating. And,
oh really? I didn't hear about Cantwell.
Yeah.
What's that all
so
about?
Is another same type of deal. Cantwell's a person that would like despise voting, although he probably got into all this shit from like Ron Paul in like 2008 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a lot. It's funny to me how like a lot of these people got into libertarianism from Ron Paul.
Yeah, and then they suddenly become like
they got
like
in through a politician, and then they're gonna rag about like people like Ron Paul, like quote unquote gateway drugs to libertarianism. I mean, what is your ends? I mean, do you not want these people to be elected? Do you not want these people to be heard? It's kind of like climbing that gateway drug Ron Paul ladder and then trying to kick it out from under other people.
Right.
It's like it's totally the way Ron Paul through politics. I'd say advanced the liberty movement more than any person that I can think of in ever.
Seriously.
So yeah, I mean, it just seems very self-defeating for the movement to really like despise any sort of political action. I don't think political action is the best action necessarily, but I think it is some sort of action. It's something that we can do, and I believe we've seen some progress.
Yeah, I think it's something that's not for everybody. I mean, you have to have someone that is basically willing to like sacrifice a lot of time and a lot of resources to get to that point. Because I mean, you just can't show up. You have to get because of all like the requirements for getting into debates and whatnot. You have to. There's a lot you have to invest. So.
Yeah, there's not a lot of reach arounds.
Not enough.
No comment.
Not enough reach arounds.
What were you going to say, Alex? I think I got you off.
Oh no, it's just like what Matt was saying. A lot of people that get involved, like discover voluntarism and are completely checked out of the system.
Yeah, people who
came
like
about it through
people
Ron
who
Paul.
like Columbus voluntarism.
Columbus voluntarism.
Like discover it.
Oh, I guess.
Totally.
Like how many people do you meet? Like I it happens to me all the time just because I still keep my Ron Paul bumper sticker on my car. So many people come up to me and you have conversations with random people, whereas they discovered that through Ron Paul. So why would you people that have gone down that path? Why would you hate on people because they're slowly evolving and slowly getting to that it's mindset?
Like you want to just let them cross that stream.
Yeah.
You're kind of like a stream blocker.
Right.
Man. And then so basically like Cantwell was kind of talking about it like, how like he's joining the political process. He was acknowledging finally that, that things can be changed through it, blah, blah, blah. You can accomplish some things, and he basically put it like this: if you hold an election and 90% of eligible voters in the town don't vote, because we're anarchists and we don't believe in government, and so then that leaves the 10% that do vote. So the bottom line is those people end up choosing the leaders. So what really happens from non-voting?
Right.
You know what I mean? And some things have been changed through voting. It often amounts to a lot of baby steps, but I think we saw that by Ron Paul's participation in the system that a good message was spread.
But I mean, does that necessarily equate to voting? Because Ron Paul could have ran and nobody would have voted for him, and he would have accomplished the exact same thing, right? You know what I mean?
Well.
It is. I don't think. What I'm saying is, it's not necessarily the act of voting, because people think like, oh, if you vote for the lesser of two evils, you're still going to do some good.
No, well,
But we're more talking about engaging in the political process as a platform to spread ideas.
Yeah, well, I think when Ron Paul was speaking, I think it was important for people to vote on everybody's website that he won the debates.
Yeah, I mean that kind of voting. Yeah,
And I mean, I think it was important to go out and vote because the more votes it would have gotten, the more it would have been talked about, and the more legitimate the movement seems to some people.
right. That's true.
And
And there's also voting on like ballot propositions like legalizing weed and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you want the movement to seem legitimate to more and more people because then the politicians will start pandering to you more.
Right.
You'll start to get more. It's because the thing about politicians is they can only get away with what you let them. And it's like with marijuana. It's not like a bunch of politicians one day had this brilliant awakening, like, prohibition. It's just as bad with marijuana as it was with alcohol. It's not like these guys were like total genius and like figured this out. It was like the majority of the Americans changing their mind that made the politicians have to go that way if they wanted to get reelected.
Yes, exactly.
It's so yeah, I mean, spreading ideas, that's fucking awesome. And a great way to spread ideas is when you're speaking in an election,
Totally, yeah.
totally running for office or whatevs, it's one way to get the message out there.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand the other argument, which is engaging in the political process is something of endorsement of it, but I don't know. To me, that's just a little bit too ideological. And I think at this point, we have to be as practical as we can. And I think, getting that sort of platform and spreading those ideas through that channel is a practical means of accomplishing what we want to accomplish.
Word. Totally.
Anything else you guys want to drop on that topic?
No, I mean, I just thought it was totally interesting that first Cantwell did it and now Berwick, and I mean that's cool. I would like to see more quote unquote anarchists come around to just participating in the system. It's basically like, it's another way of talking to your neighbor. Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
Imagine if you were just seeing like awesome libertarian political ads on TV instead of the bullshit pandering stuff you see now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
like that'd be way cooler, and you might actually like catch some people's attention.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally. It's definitely. I mean, I wouldn't discourage any way of spreading the message.
Right.
So, like, I don't know. What do you guys think about like privatizing police?
Privatizing police.
Yep.
I mean, I think privatizing anything is pretty much the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, privatizing anything and everything. Yeah.
Right. I mean, because when you privatize things, you introduce competition.
And you introduce choices. Yep. Word.
I think like maybe a first step to that, especially in a week. Did we talk about this like last week? Or
I'm just going to pass Alex the phallic-shaped pipe.
Oh, nice, nice. I think a step in that direction would be case in point, like just like what happened in Baltimore with this Freddie Gray. That family's going to, whether or not whatever happens when it goes to trial, that family's going to file a lawsuit, and guess what? There's going to be a settlement. I think what Baltimore City Police or the Baltimore police have basically over like almost $6 million in lawsuits.
Oh yeah.
So I think maybe like a step in the right direction would be like, all right, well if you're going to be a cop, you're going to have to carry like private insurance, so that you, the taxpayer, won't have to be held liable for their indiscretions. So that it would just be like insurance on a car, like private insurance with your car or whatever. That'd be like a great something that we could do now,
like a great racket.
Moving towards privatization.
Great racket.
Wait, you don't think that's a good idea, Matt?
No, I don't know. I
mean, if it were, I think in theory it would be a good idea, but how would it play out with like just the state of modern day insurance? I mean, so how do you think that would be implemented in real life?
Not the Matrix.
Well, I mean, I guess I haven't really put too much thought into it. Like my friend posted it on Facebook last week or a couple weeks ago in the wake of the whole Baltimore riots. But because regardless, like Baltimore City paid out like $6 million, and then with this most recent Freddie Gray case, regardless of what happens in the courts, that family's going to sue, and the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for basically these 6 cops or however many were involved, and many other cops that are involved in, basically violating people's rights and in abuse cases. So basically, it would basically be up to maybe like a ballot referendum, like basically stating like, all right, from this point on, individual police officers must carry private insurance. So basically to protect themselves or also protect the taxpayer from paying out all these lawsuits. So then that would force the hand of government to basically like, all right, well, we're not going to hire loose cannons for police officers. We're probably going to not enforce victimless crimes. Like it basically would be like a transition period to ultimately what we were talking about is privatization of police. But it could be. I don't know. But just throwing it out there just as a, basically that a cop has to have private insurance.
So it's kind of like almost like they're being privately subsidized, but there's still like a monopoly on violence by the state through the police.
It's a transition.
Right.
It would be a transition to privatization, and that I'm just being pragmatic because I don't think tomorrow someone running for office, like we were talking about earlier, like some anarchist could running as a libertarian and say, I'm going to privatize the police tomorrow. Most people are like, how's that going to happen? So
right.
Yeah, but what if it drove up the cost of, essentially it would drive up the cost of policing, and you might have to pay police more to have to, like, put up with getting insurance for their job.
Yeah, they're already not paid
how exactly would that work? Right? And plus, who would be insane enough to insure them?
I thought about that, too. That'd be... But, I guess it would be based on... well, basically, I guess it could... if you can't have insurance, well, then you can't be a police officer. Much like, like car insurance. You don't have insurance, you can't drive. Now, this is kind of status. This is kind of status talk. But I'm just saying it's a transition, a possible transition to ultimately what we all want is privatization of police. But basically, if you can't, if they're not going to insure you, then obviously you're probably not fit to be a police officer.
Then you probably see more like legitimate
policing.
That and like psychic or psychiatric evaluations for cops, and you wouldn't have this whole thing where they're like trying to hire cops with low IQs.
Right. It would kind of there would be a huge transition period on all fronts.
Right. You'd have a shift in just better policemen that are more focused on just doing actual police work, and you might also see a change in the drug war as a result of that.
I think you totally would.
Because think about it this way, like the more police engagements there are, and police engaging with citizens, the more likely you're going to have an incident. So why not drive that down?
I think more and more people are waking up to that anyways.
Right.
And, it's basically like people, I don't think people would actually want to pay for that. In the world of like privatized police. Like, have you ever seen the movie Cuffs with Christian Slater?
No.
Yeah. I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those, if you like Christian Slater, like early 90s, and then, it's kind of like, I was a big fan of his, like, Gleaming the Cube, Pump Up the Volume, and Cuffs. But anyways, so basically, like, apparently in San Francisco at the time of that movie, or it was someplace in California, some city, I forget. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, or I was going to bring it up. But they apparently you could like subscribe to different police precincts to protect your store. Maybe it was like extra protection or whatever,
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's basically like this private police station, and they would just basically pick up like people who would subscribe to their protection in their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So if they did a good job in preventing crime and in keeping the streets safe in the neighborhood, they would have more customers.
Right.
And it's like these cops had just a great relationship with the people in the neighborhood. And you don't get any of those like weird vibes,
Right. Because they're actually just focused on providing a service and not just like.
Yeah, it's like
enforcers.
Plus people are waking up to the drug war anyways, and I think less and less people are wanting to pay for it. And why would you want to pay for it when you understand that it's since we've started enforcing the war on drugs, we've had less convictions for real crimes like murders, rapes, and robberies because the cops are concentrating so much on this drug war.
Right.
And then it gets extra absurd when you think about the federal government's role in it. You know, you've got cases where they've allegedly brought in drugs to the country, and you've also got right now, you know, you've got troops defending heroin fields, you know, poppy fields over in what is it, Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just insane.
And then you also have the feds interfering with states that have already legalized it. Like in California, where it's, you know, legalized for medicinal purposes, and you still have feds coming in and prosecuting people. And
I think more and more
raiding.
people are getting off that tip, or just sliding their lips off the tip of the drug war's dick. They're like, no, what have I been doing? You know, it's basically like I woke up and the drug war's dick was in my mouth. You know, it's totally.
Good analogy.
You never had that dream? Okay.
No. But yeah, it's I don't know. I just threw that out there as a possible transition. But yeah, I think that people are waking up to the drug war, and I think that definitely would be people are tired of paying for it. So yeah, definitely. Moving on. Next topic. What do we got, Matt?
Word. Okay, so yeah, the Boston bomber apparently got the death penalty this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think about a state-run death penalty?
What do you think about any death penalty?
Well, I mean, it depends on how you classify death penalty. I mean, are you talking about something that's comes down through a judiciary process, or are you talking an act of retaliation, or are you talking an act of self-defense?
I think I think we're all for an act of self-defense.
Right. So really, the debate is about whether it should come down through a judiciary process. I mean, when it comes to the state doing it, I'm way less hesitant to support it at all, because, I mean, you know, it's just hard to trust the state with anything.
Would you support it from a private protection agency?
I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm really undecided about it. Because, I don't think retribution. I don't think retribution is a justification for anything. So just, an eye for an eye, I don't think is a good philosophical approach to anything.
Everyone's blind.
Yeah. However, there's also the concept of it being a deterrent, especially for like super heinous crimes. Where you have like a mass rapist or a mass murderer. Is it worth it to? Because I mean, what's the alternative? So you keep this guy locked up in a prison, and you keep him alive for the next, 50 years, and that costs you money. And I mean, it's one thing if you can rehabilitate the guy and put him back out in society. It's another thing if he's just a completely lost cause.
Yeah. One thing too that I've also read, I read years ago, was that it's basically for the death penalty, since there's always so many appeals and stuff. It actually costs more to put somebody to death than it does to keep them in prison for a lifetime.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've definitely done studies on that.
That's what I've read.
It's definitely
so the economic approach isn't really. The economic argument isn't really legitimate.
Yeah, I mean, for the death penalty, it's not at all.
Huh.
And then, of course, there's the whole argument, like, people have been executed who were then later proven to be innocent.
Right.
Or on death row, and, evidence comes out because of technology and DNA testing and et cetera, or
all that
out
noise
10 and 20 years later, oh, sorry about that. We were going to put you to death, but, about what happened 20 years ago, yeah, you're not guilty.
Right. And then, it's like that. I was listening to, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, which is an awesome podcast, if anyone out there is interested in that kind of thing. But he brought up a quote. Who was it from? I can't remember. But basically it was like, I'd rather a million or X amount of guilty people go free than one innocent man be put to death.
Yeah, exactly. And then people say, like, when you bring up the high cost of the death penalty, well, we should make it easier to kill them, and it's like, you have all.
Well, it's like the one state that reintroduced the firing squad.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, innocent until proven guilty, and while it might sometimes seem, or it definitely seems like a total pain in the ass to spend all this effort on somebody that you feel like is guilty, the great thing about a system with all those checks and balances and making it that hard to convict somebody means that protecting the innocent is the ultimate,
Right.
as opposed to just like mob rule.
Right.
The idea that you should have to actually prove somebody guilty. You were innocent until proven guilty. Because would you really want to live in a world where you were guilty until proven innocent?
No.
Yeah, and people have had to live in that world before.
Oh yeah, totally. People still live in that world
People still live in
today.
that world here sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we should always strive for.
Yeah, whenever you involve like the handling of someone's life with the state, kind of like like with abortion, how people are really making that sort of like a government issue when it's more of like an individual moral issue. What do you guys think?
Yeah, as far as abortion goes, I don't know. I'll let Alex. Do you want to go first, or should I go?
Go ahead, Matt, and then I'll...
Cool. For me, for years, I was always right now I define my stance as I'm personally pro-life. I'm politically pro-choice. I think for years, growing up, I was also politically pro-life. And I don't know, thinking it through, I feel like if you're going to be politically pro-life and you're going to have if you have the state, make abortions illegal, every time a woman has a miscarriage, you've got the state up inside of her vagina, because you've got to investigate it as a murder, correct?
A miscarriage?
Yeah.
So you in case she caused a miscarriage by negligence,
yeah. Well, why wouldn't you?
Or...
Why wouldn't you? If it's a murder, if it's a death, why wouldn't you have an investigation for every death, right?
Right. Don't they kind of do that already though, or no?
For miscarriages, no.
For no miscarriage, even if it's proved that it was fetal alcohol syndrome, they don't charge for that.
I'm not sure about that, but what I'm alluding to is every time they would have to investigate that.
Right.
It just seems pretty fucking tyrannical. It seems it's going to happen every way. It's going to happen anyway.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing is so you can make it illegal, but all you're going to do is the same thing that's happened with every other prohibition. You just force it underground, so you have these underground abortion clinics that are doing it, in metaphorical back alleys, instead of just bringing it into the open where you can have you can have other means of prevention, that's the other thing is instead of focusing on abortion, like I say with a lot of things, you need to focus on the root cause of why so many abortions are happening instead of just going after abortions.
No, totally. I think that's a lot of it. I think a lot of people could do a lot better. Private charity could do a lot better. Yeah, I honestly think if you got rid of the child support system, you'd have less abortions. I think you'd have less people being I think you'd have more people being careful if you didn't know that you could always sue the baby's daddy, or if you got rid of the welfare state and if you knew that if you actually knew that you had to be responsible for your actions, I feel like less people would take that road because I feel like we've subsidized that road, and we've kind of made it easier, so more people are taking that road, and it's almost become a culture to take that road.
Right. It's almost like we've incentivized that choice.
Exactly.
The free market, punishes, the irresponsible, where the government rewards that behavior, irresponsible behavior.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much like what you were saying, the argument of ardent pro-life or pro-choice is, well, if the state, doesn't point the gun at everybody and funds abortion, it's going to be, going back to, like you said, back alley abortions and who knows what could be happening.
Plus, it's the woman's body. It's her choice. It's her country.
Right.
If the ultimate goal is anarchy, or if that's the place that we even want to just move the closest towards, we would just want to move the closest towards more freedom. More individual freedom. That's the inside the woman's body. The body is her country.
Right, but the counter argument to that is that when does the fetus become an individual? And
Yeah,
that's, I mean, that's a whole rabbit hole argument that
totally
I don't
and,
think we really.
It's a question, it's a discussion,
Right.
and it's different people have different opinions. It
Right.
seems to me like nobody really knows. I mean,
So
I know
therefore,
I know that
ultimately-
I don't like the idea of abortion. I know that.
Yes.
I know that personally, like I would not want to encourage abortions. Yeah, I would want to discourage them. But I also know that I wouldn't want to like pay men with thugs to I would pay thugs with guns to go out and kidnap women for having an abortion.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
pretty
know.
much with Matt on the philosophically, but do we really do we really want the basically get the state out of it, and the more the onus is on the individual, regardless of any situation. When you break it down to the individual, the less complicated it is making that decision. Because like you said, when does that fetus actually is an individual? Well, if it's just down to that one individual, the woman making that choice, well, then
Or
that's
what if
ultimately
it's
on
like-
her and not
What it's
many
like?
people.
Am I committing an abortion every time I jack off into a paper towel?
Yeah, I mean,
It
definitely. You can go down a
at
rabbit
what
hole.
point? At what
The
point does life
argument
begin,
comes
dude?
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of, scientific and pseudo-scientific arguments about when life starts. Like the super religious will say it's at conception, and then, some people say, well, it's at the third trimester or whatever it is. But, that's the whole thing. It's like so black and white that, I mean, number one, I don't think...
so gray, you mean?
Or yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
The opposite.
I guess
Black
if
and white
you mix
mixed.
black and white, then yeah, totally. That's what you're going for.
Sorry.
I got it.
I'm a little tired.
I got it, bro.
But I mean, yeah, it's such a gray issue that, and you'll probably never come to a conclusion that everybody will agree with. It's not
So
like
that's why it should
murder.
ultimately be down
like
to
we
the
all know that
individual.
what murder is. Like we all know, like if I kill Matt right now, for no reason, or not in self-defense, then I'm murdering Matt. Whereas abortion, it's not that clear. So to involve the guns of the state in that is not the right move at all.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's like I think it's clear for me, but I acknowledge that it might not be as clear for other people, or for other people it might just be clear the other way around. It's
And that's the other thing that annoys me is like how people will paint it as a black and white issue with the real meaning of black and white.
Yeah, totally. It's people. I think people on both sides of the aisle can be just total dicks about it.
Yeah.
On one side, you have the people who love like the fetus jokes like all day, and I'm pretty much about I'm pretty much about offensive jokes and stuff, and I think it's all funny. But then and then on the pro life side, you'll have some dickheads too. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, you'll just. I don't know. It just seems like oftentimes people aren't really like open to thinking about like why people believe what they believe, and can't really go outside themselves to just think about or try to understand how and why people think. Yeah, a different perspective. Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked about this on a different podcast before. So the president of Liberland, which was a self-proclaimed micronation.
Yeah, a libertarian state.
Yeah.
Yep.
In between on this, it was so it started on this piece of unclaimed land in between Croatia and Serbia.
Virgin land.
And so this guy, claimed a nation there. Well, he
soiled
was
the land.
recently arrested for trespassing on his own self-proclaimed nation by Croatian police.
Croatian thugs.
Yeah,
Thugs.
and he was just fined 1,200 kuna, which is $177 American. But apparently it's only
I wonder if they
paid-
take Bitcoin.
Yeah, right. Doubtful. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the whole story, but I don't know. It's kind of funny,
Yeah. Funny, sad.
Funny, sad that you can just be forced at gunpoint to pay money for crossing into a piece of
Yeah, I wonder if this is the end for
uncivilized
Liberland.
land.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, man.
Because I was kind of interested to see like how this is going to pan out. Because didn't they have like 6,000 people who applied or something, or 10,000 people who applied, and there's only space for 5,000 people or something?
Yeah.
It was something crazy like that. Like all these people are applying to live there.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I
apparently
was
he
kind of
was
curious to see how that was going to turn out.
The article also says he was, after getting detained, he had like a meeting with Croatian like officials to, and I mean he's talking about it sort of optimistically, like, oh, we had a constructive meeting about, what how we can move forward from this. Yeah, but I mean, who knows? I don't think it's in any nation state's interest to allow another small nation to pop up, but I mean, I don't know if there's a whole lot they can do about it as far as like international politics go, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it would be super cool if like a legit libertarian country popped up that was, really run as a libertarian country without interference, or with little interference as possible.
Totally, man.
I'm getting a flood alert on my phone.
Yeah, man. It's pretty crazy here. My basement is in water right now.
Yeah, we're wearing swimmies and shit.
Not really swimmies, but Jared did bring his rubber duck.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I gotta keep company. I get scared.
Matt's wearing a Speedo right now.
Yeah, man. So, Alex, so you say you're thinking about going to PorkFest now?
I'm thinking about it.
A couple days?
Yeah, maybe a day or two.
When is that again, Matt?
Maybe
Expand upon that, dude. It's June 21st to 28th in New Hampshire on Rogers Campground. And if you Google PorkFest, you'll be able to find out all the info.
PORCFEST, right?
Yep. Porcupine Freedom Festival is what it stands for. And it's put on by the Free State Project. The Free State Project is basically, I believe they're trying to get 20 people to sign up. 20 people to sign up.
20,000?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Take the best one.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, just 20 people. Yeah,
just 20. I mean,
setting
the bar
20,000
real low.
people to sign a contract saying, once everybody agrees to, once we get these 20,000 signatures, we'll all move in like 10 years or something to New Hampshire. In attempts to basically, create a more like libertarian state. Yeah, free state.
Didn't it all spawn out of a research paper for a master's program? Oh, another flood alert here on my phone. But then it came about. It was I think a graduate paper, wasn't it? The founder of the Free State Project, and they basically did a paper about like what state would be the most optimal to create a libertarian society. And I guess they looked at the laws, the population, the current state of affairs in every
Lots
state.
of scientific factors.
A lot of statistics. And I guess New Hampshire, a couple states were like in the top, like Wyoming and Idaho, Montana.
I think I heard Montana. Yeah, it was
but
like
New
number 2.
Hampshire, I guess what?
And I think Montana actually might have started their own also.
Possibly.
It's not as large because it's so many people were for Montana. I think Montana actually started their own thing, and and sidetracking a little bit, and in North Carolina, I believe they have
the Blue Ridge Liberty Project. A couple people are involved that I know of that are involved in that.
Totally.
Hey, the more the merrier, man.
But I guess they looked at New Hampshire because small population, the laws on the books, no sales tax, open carry state to begin with. No state income tax, and also the fact that there's about almost 500 state legislators and senators, to a population of less than 1 million people. So it's a lot harder to pass bad laws in that state. So and a lot of people more politically engaged up there. So I guess that's why they picked New Hampshire to be the Free State Project.
Totally. So yeah, PorkFest is basically like a week-long event where approximately a shitload of libertarians get together on Rogers Campground and really just like hang out for a week. It's a week-long libertarian party. There's everybody from like senior citizens to like young children to like punk rockers to hippies to ravers to just normal everyday people. Just like a great mix of culture. And it's like it's when you're there, you're just like everybody's walking up to you, like introducing themselves and where you're from, blah blah blah. And it's like when you talk to somebody, you already know that you at least have one thing in common, and that thing is you want to see a more free world. So then before you know it, you're just walking around introducing yourself to everybody. It's just a really fun week. And so you're thinking about going for a couple days now?
Yeah, definitely, man. Kind of taking the past 2 years off, so definitely would like to make a trip out of it, and maybe go up there for visit my cousin in Vermont, and then stop by Rogers Campground where Pork Fest is taking place this year, and for maybe 2 days, and maybe go up to Maine and visit a friend up there. So make a week of it, possibly.
Nice little trip.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm actually heading up there with John Vibes and Derek Burrows, and I was talking to JG Vibes the other day, and we're talking about potentially doing like some like special editions of like the PRL podcast on Rogers Campground. And so this is all like talk right now, but it seems like it's something we might be able to get done because we actually got a hotel room up there. So it should be pretty cool. We won't have to worry about the weather. Like the first year I went there, I mean, it was totally awesome. But the last morning there, I actually woke up in a puddle because I was in like a old tent with like holes in it and stuff. So yeah, it was still like totally awesome, but it was like, So now we've got this hotel room. So that should be pretty chill.
What are you paying a night for that?
I think the hotel room was like $500 for the week. And I was surprised they still had it.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, not bad at all. So
is it like right near the campground?
Yeah, from that's my understanding of it.
Okay.
Yeah, first year I went, everybody's like, oh yeah, New Hampshire's an open carry state, so I brought up my 9mm and got my campground, camp area set up and was good to go. And then everybody else was just walking around open carrying and everything. And I'm just thinking to myself, wait a minute, I'm on a private campground surrounded by hundreds of libertarians that all espouse and believe in the principle of non-aggression. I was like, I don't think I really need this right now. I think I'm good. So
exactly.
it's
funny.
It's very refreshing to be around so many like-minded people that
it's
just feel
the
so
most
free.
guns I've seen. Like most private guns I've seen in person. Any place besides a gun show,
right?
And I mean, you feel just as safe there as you would feel at a gun show, Because say if somebody were to go crazy, you'd have like all these armed libertarians to gun them down.
Right.
It's yeah, man, you totally feel safe there, and it's basically like a week long of just different events and talks and games. It's pretty amazing. The first year I went, and I just fell in love with New Hampshire. It's such a beautiful state. And in the summertime, there's like this awesome breeze, and it's like there's freedom in the air. There's like no smog. The skies are like totally blue.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Really awesome. Yeah, Jared, why don't you come, dude? Why you got to go to Bonnaroo again?
Well, that's the week before.
Or is it Bonnaroo?
A couple weeks before.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I might be able to finagle a couple of days off to maybe make it like a long weekend out of it. We'll see.
Yeah, dude.
Do they announced who's speaking yet?
They may have. I don't know. It's one of those things. Like I'll go either way. It's really cool, man. And
right.
I know the first time I went was a couple years ago, and apparently like that year they had a huge spike in attendance, and then last year there was even more attendance, and who knows what it's going to be like this year. It's since they've been doing this, I believe they're on like PorkFest. Like this might be 12 or 13.
Oh wow!
I think it's 12 right now. Since they've been doing this every year, I believe at first it just started out as a weekend, but people enjoyed it so much that they made it into a week, like a few years in.
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, it's just been exponentially gaining in attendance every year. So I mean, it's like every year that I've went, like everybody who had went there years before was just commenting about like how big it's growing.
Mm-hmm.
I think last year the campground might have sold out, and then there was actually like some people who had like local farms that were letting people camp over there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty badass. I think there was even some talk about what are they going to do when they become too big for Rogers Campground. So
that's a good problem to have.
yeah, totally, yeah. Well, hey guys, I think that's about it for this week, And until next time,
Take it easy.
have a good one.
What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What you gonna do when they show up in black suits on your street in army boots? And they'll silence you. What you gonna say when they strip your rights away and the tax man makes you pay for every bit of sweat you fed today? We don't need to run and hide. We won't be pushed off to the side. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. Who you gonna trust when the judge is so unjust and the jury must discuss? Say you don't look like one of us. Where you gonna turn? Now the court has been adjourned and the lessons that you've learned are not as many as the bridges burned. We don't need to run and hide. We won't be pushed off to the side. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. We don't need to run and hide. We won't be pushed off to the side. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a